Hey, 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 all my scrappy friends. This is Kay with Create with Kay, and I am coming to you with a spread for the Traci Reed's design team for her Sketchy Sunday. Oh no, forget. We have so many, or not so many, but I can't ever remember if it's Saturday or Sunday. I need to look. I think it's Saturday. Sketchy Saturday. We're going to call it Sketchy Saturday. Anyways, I love doing the Sketchy Saturdays. I have been doing a lot of sketch challenges right now just to get the juices flowing again, get some practice in my card making, all of that kind of stuff. So we are using the Smitten kit. I love this kit. We're going to, it's February, so we're coming into February. At the time that I'm making this right at the end of January. And I haven't scrapbooked this photo. My friend took this photo of my husband and I. It was like a little joke. We had done a like pedal bar type thing. So of course we were probably feeling, better than what we should be. And I can't remember actually if it was before or after it, honestly. But regardless, we were just being silly. And then I actually liked the photo. So I don't remember exactly why we were being silly, but whatever. We don't get many pictures of us kissing like that. So I was like, oh, well, we're going to scrap this one. So I will throw up the sketch right here so you guys can see it. Of course, all of Traci's sketches are always available. And most of the time they will come in a 12 by 12 size, but you can adapt any sketch, of course, to whatever size scrapbook that you're working on. And of course, I am most likely working in a 7 by 8 or a 6.85. I'm always working outside the page protectors, of course. And so, yeah, so I always kind of chop it down. I really didn't change the sketch. I liked how this sketch was. So I didn't really change it. So, I have all my pieces cut out from my silhouette. My background this time is just using the splatter, from the Smitten kit. I used it and then spun it around and used it again so that it looks like I have a little bit of mixed media. I always love that. And then it's just like you just seen in that, two big hearts that kind of overlap. Now in the sketch, most of the time you can, take out the drop shadows and, the outlines and all that kind of stuff. I actually think I had it like this. Now that I am looking at it, now that this is coming together. But I didn't take the outline off this time. I decided to keep the outline to give this a little bit more dimension. These are probably gonna have to be cut down just a smidgen, but they are fitting right together. To give it a little bit more dimension, I did cut out the white pieces, outline pieces, or whatever you want to call them. And I cut out two. So again, if you haven't been following, I am loving making homemade cards at this time. Really getting into the card making world and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think that scrapbooking and the card making world are very close together, right? There isn't too far off stamping and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've been getting pretty far into it. And a big thing in the card world, I just missed that, is die cutting or cutting out strips of paper to stack on top of each other to create dimension instead of using foam tape or anything like that, since foam tape A, gets expensive, and B, is sometimes way too bulky. Like, we don't want that much bulk. We just want a little bulk. So that's what I did here. So I just used my silhouette and cut that out twice. And we're just going to line that up. Again, it does, it definitely gives much more probably effect in person than it does, honestly, in on camera, unfortunately, but that's fine. Anyways, since, again, I mean, I think I say this in almost every video, this is going to come together pretty quickly. It is, oh, we're going to line things up though today. Since this is done mainly in Photoshop, and I have had a ton of people asking to break down Photoshop a whole lot more lately. And it sounds like people are loving to get into the digital world a little bit more. Oh, come on. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter because I do have that white stripe. Okay, good enough. I have that white thing to cover that. Anyways, so I think, and for me to break it down a lot more beginnerish, I think when I do go on there, I automatically think that people know how to do the basics, and that's just not the case. Oh, and my dog's gonna bark, and I have no idea what. And that's just not the case. So let me know what you struggle with the most in your Photoshop woes. And I think that I will have weeks where I do very basic things and show very basic beginner-ish kind of things, and then I will have weeks where we can dive a little bit further into Photoshop. But truly there are people out there. I know how to do a ton photo-wise, obviously, since I'm a photographer, but there are other people out there that know how to do a ton more graphic wise, I guess I should say, more, how to manipulate graphics and all that kind of stuff. So, and then I always want to remind people that there is never one way to also do something in Photoshop. There's always millions of ways to do something in Photoshop. So, all right, I'm going to throw you on a fast forward so that I can finish this up. I do have to figure out my title, just because I couldn't figure it out on there. But we are going to double those up, and just to give it that effect type thing. I know that there was 2 pictures in there, but being that I'm doing a smaller project, I decided I was just going to double these up, but I like how that looks. So, all right, so let me get you on the voiceover and we'll get started. But yeah, definitely in the comments below, let me know if you struggle doing Photoshop and where you struggle at, and we can work through everything together. All right, guys, so there isn't too much more to be done here. I am going to start trying to figure out some way to incorporate the digital side of my spreads here, because I just feel like sometimes I'm just putting things together on my YouTube videos, and a lot of the work was done on my computer. And I don't know. Sometimes not. But this one was definitely, obviously, like, a lot of work was done on my computer in Photoshop. So I probably should have screenshotted that. I need to figure out how to get my computer to work on screen share. I figured it out for like a month, and then all of a sudden it stops working. So, all right. So I mentioned I had that title to figure out. I recently got these dies, the alphabet dies. I've been collecting a few of them, trying to find a few that I like. Originally, I was upset when these came in because they were a little smaller than I thought that they were. But they worked perfectly for this layout. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll get some use out of them. And then I had to stop the camera because I just could not figure out a title. If you had been watching my December daily videos, you heard me talk several times about not even titling my pages at this point. And because like sometimes I just have mental blocks over the title. I have no idea. So again, I was having a mental block over the title. And finally I came upon just like Silly in Love. Because we were being silly, and we don't really have that many pictures of us just like being ourselves, I guess. And yeah, and so when this one was snapped of us, I was pretty appreciative of my friend for doing that. And for us just, kind of being us in front of the camera, which is usually never will turn and, do the regular pose pretty much. So next, I could have just left these white, but I was like, that's kind of boring, right? I was like, how about I do like an ombre effect with my alcohol markers? So these are the Tri-Blend Spectrum Noir markers. That is what I pretty much use for my coloring. I am looking to maybe invest in some Hulus, but whatever. Anyways, but I haven't decided quite yet. I need all this. I need to stop spending money pretty much on this hobby for a minute. So anyways, so that's what I did. I used the coral color. At first I wasn't like totally digging it, but I was like, you know what, just get it onto the spread because I think it will pop once you get it to the spread. And sure enough, it did. I was almost worried that that red was going to kind of mix in with the red of that heart, which is why I considered keeping it white. But I wanted to do a little more. So this is what I did. So here I am. I'm just using my embellishment pen pretty much. It's like a waxy tip that holds onto like small papers so that you can see where you're placing it pretty much without getting your fingers in there. Sometimes these were a bit big for it though. It's usually meant for like sequins and like, rhinestones, that kind of thing. But it worked. Even sometimes they even got stuck more than I wanted them to do. So moved it up a little bit. Then I was like, should it be by that other word or that other phrase sticker? And I was like, I actually kind of like it as like a subtitle. Then you're going to see me switch to my reverse tweezers, which was a much better idea. Once I started gluing them, then the embellishment wand definitely was not working. Had way too much weight on it for that to work. And I was like, I'm using my fingers, and I'm like, why am I using my fingers? I can use my tweezers. Use your tweezers, right? So just using the Barely Arts glue. I love this glue as it dries pretty quickly, but it also does give you some time for wiggle room and getting all of that in. So definitely check out this kit though by Traci Reed. This is one of my favorite Valentine's kits. It's not too super Valentine-y or pink. And that background paper back there with all of the sentiments on it. I love that. I love that paper. I've used this paper now also in my bullet journal for February. So it's just all around a good, and always Traci adds a good plaid in there, and I can't not have a good plaid. I love a good plaid, and she's always got one in there. So all right, so I'm going to wrap that up. Don't forget to put in the comments below if you are a digital scrapper or not. And if you are, I would love to know where you kind of get hung up on. And we'll start walking through that. So last thing I just have to do is put these journaling strips on. Not too much journaling. I didn't even mention what we were doing. I will probably scrapbook this adventure in our family album. So that's all. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. And I will see you in the next one. Talk to you soon. Bye.